Now, they boarded a 3-week luxury space cruise, but will be trapped for 6 million years. Intro music. Eerie, atmospheric sci-fi drone. 9. Imagine boarding the ultimate luxury cruise to escape a dying Earth, expecting a smooth 3-week journey, only to realize you are never ever going home. Today, we're looking at the 2019 Swedish sci-fi psychological thriller, Aniara, based on the classic 1956 epic poem by Harry Martinson. This film is a haunting exploration of existential dread, human nature, and the sheer, terrifying vastness of space. Spoiler alert is in full effect. Let's dive in. Music shifts to a bustling, corporate, upbeat tone. Act 1. The Departure and the Disaster. Our story begins on a bleak, ravaged Earth. Natural disasters and climate collapse have rendered the planet barely habitable. Humanity's only hope is a mass migration to Mars. We meet our protagonist, a woman known simply as MR. She is preparing to board a towering space elevator that will ferry passengers to the Aniara, a colossal space vessel designed to transport thousands of people to the Red Planet. The Aniara is less of a spaceship and more of a floating luxury mall. It has high-end restaurants, nightclubs, arcades, and massive artificial sunlight pools. It is designed to keep passengers distracted and comfortable for the brief 21-day trip. Mr. has a unique job aboard the ship. She is a MIMA, the operator of a highly advanced, semi-organic artificial intelligence known as the MIMA. The MIMA is a massive, immersive chamber that telepathically connects with its users, projecting their deepest, most comforting memories of Earth's lush nature before it was destroyed. At the start of the journey, hardly anyone visits the MIMA. They are too busy partying and shopping. But on the very first day, tragedy strikes. While passing through a debris field, a rogue screw punctures the ship's hull, flying directly into the nuclear reactor. To prevent a catastrophic explosion, the ship's safety systems automatically jettison all of the nuclear fuel. The ship veers wildly off course. The authoritarian captain, Chafone, calls a ship-wide assembly. He projects an aura of calm, assuring the panicked passengers that this is merely a temporary setback. He claims that while they have lost their steering and propel systems, they will simply use the gravitational pull of a nearby celestial body to slingshot back on course. It will take a maximum of 2 years. The passengers, desperate for comfort, blindly accept this lie. Music deepens, becoming somber and isolating. Act 2. The MIMA and the Decline. A year passes! The atmosphere on the Aniara has drastically shifted from a party cruise to a tense waiting room. The reality of their isolation is setting in. Now the MIMA chamber is completely flooded with people. Passengers queue for hours just to experience a few minutes of phantom wind in their hair and green grass under their feet. Embar works tirelessly alongside her roommate and colleague, the cynical but brilliant pilot Isagil, whom MR harbors deep romantic feelings for. The MIMA is not just a machine. It is somewhat sentient. It feels what the passengers feel. And as the passengers' collective trauma, grief, and despair grow, the MIMA begins to absorb their toxic psychological weight. Viewer 3. The MIMA is under immense strain. The beautiful illusions of Earth begin to glitch, replaced by horrific visions of destruction, fire, and suffering. The machine is essentially experiencing a mental breakdown. MR stays up for days trying to repair and soothe the entity, but it is no use. Unable to handle the sheer volume of human agony, the MIMA self-destructs, exploding into pieces. Captain Chafone is furious, refusing to take responsibility for the deteriorating mental state of his passengers. He blames MR for the MIMA's destruction. He strips her of her rank and sentences her to a windowless prison cell deep in the bowels of the ship. Act 3. False hopes and new life. Mino is finally released. The ship is practically unrecognizable. Without the MIMA to numb the passengers, society aboard the Aniara has fractured. Suicide rates have skyrocketed. Peculiar cults have formed. with people participating in bizarre, hypersexualized, and animalistic rituals to cope with the void. People are losing their minds. However, Misper finds a shred of personal happiness. She finally begins a romantic relationship with Isagel. They find solace in one another amidst the madness. Eventually, Misper manages to build a crude, primitive version of the MIMA, using mirrors and light projections. It isn't telepathic, but it offers a tiny sliver of comfort. Chiffon, realizing her usefulness, reinstates her, though she is now fully aware of his tyrannical nature. Mr. and Isagel decide to have a child together, utilizing the ship's artificial insemination facility. It is an act of profound defiance against the hopelessness surrounding them. But the hopelessness is absolute. Ymir speaks privately with the ship's chief astronomer. He shows her the cruel mathematical truth. The captain's promise of a gravitational slingshot was a blatant lie. Space is simply too large, and the Aniara is too slow. Even if they hit a nearby star system, it would take centuries. They are unsteerable, adrift in an endless ocean of an infinite night. When the astronomer later attempts to tell the awful truth to the passengers, Chiffon has him arrested and quietly murdered. Here's where it's even almost hopeful beat. Suddenly, a miracle seems to occur. The crew detects a massive, spear-like object floating towards them. It appears to be made of unknown materials. The entire ship is thrust into a frenzy of hysterical hope. Kue's phone declares that it is a rescue probe sent from Mars or Earth, or perhaps even an alien vessel. Because they have no propulsion to steer toward it, they must wait for it to drift close enough to snag. It takes months of excruciating waiting. Passenger morale skyrockets. People are singing, crying, and preparing for salvation. Finally, the Aniara catches the spear. Scientists begin boring into it, but the euphoria quickly curdles into ultimate despair. The scientists discover that the object is made of a completely impenetrable material. There are no doors, no signals, no life forms, and no fuel. It is either completely dormant alien technology or just a giant piece of useless space junk. The realization breaks what little sanity was left on the ship. The rescue was a cosmic joke. The passengers are truly completely alone. Music slows, becoming mournful and horrific. Act 4, the final descent. Year 10. A decade has passed since the Aniara left Earth. The ship holds a grotesque 10th anniversary gala. It is a pathetic, hollow celebration. The food stores have been reduced to synthetic algae blocks. The passengers are numb, dressed in rags, staring blankly ahead. By now, MR and Isagel's child is a young boy, but Isagel is profoundly depressed. The sheer weight of raising a child in a flying metal coffin, knowing he will grow up in artificial light, age and die without ever leaving the ship or feeling the sun, is tearing her apart. MR tries desperately to keep her family focused on love and survival, but Isagel is unreachable. One afternoon, Mr. comes home from work to a scene of unimaginable horror. Unable to bear the future she brought her son into, Isagel has killed their young child and then taken her own life. Mr.'s devastation is total. The one tether she had left to her humanity has been severed. She weeps over their bodies in a display of raw, unrestrained grief. We jump forward to year 24. The pristine luxury cruise ship resembles a dark, forgotten tomb. The ship's systems are failing. Power is strictly rationed, leaving the Aniara in perpetual twilight. Society has entirely collapsed. There is no longer any hierarchy or captain. Chiffon sits in a wheelchair, a catatonic, broken old man in filthy clothes. The remaining passengers have devolved. Some sit in dark rooms, their eyes having gone opaque and blind from lack of natural light. Others kneel in the darkness, chanting softly to the ceiling, praying to whatever uncaring god might be listening. In her final scene, we see an aged Mariko. She is sitting with a group of survivors, projecting an image of the sun onto a blank wall. It is a tragic echo of the MIMA chamber. They all stare at the light, mesmerized, waiting for the inevitable end. There is no screaming anymore, only silent apathy. Music totally drops out. Absolute silence. Year 5 Callan 981,407. The screen goes black, and a final, staggering title card appears. Year 5,981,407. In the pitch blackness of deep space, a tiny speck of light enters the frame. As the camera zooms in, we see the Aniara. It is completely dead, frozen solid. A rusted, silent ghost ship acting as a mausoleum for thousands of forgotten humans. Slowly, the lifeless ship drifts toward a vibrant, lush, green planet orbiting the star of the Lyra constellation. It has reached a habitable world, exactly as intended, nearly 6 million years too late. Outro music, somber, thoughtful. Outro. Aniara is a uniquely terrifying film because its horror does not come from aliens, monsters, or villains. The antagonist of the film is reality itself. It is a story about the fragile nature of the human mind when stripped of hope and the absolute indifferent scale of the universe. It reminds us that humanity is entirely dependent on the incredibly rare, beautiful, and delicate ecosystem of Earth. And if we destroy it, there is nowhere else to go. If you enjoyed this detailed recap, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss a video. Let me know in the comments below. How long do you think you would survive on the Aniara before giving up? Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.